American writer Maya Angelou once said that when you know better, you do better. And this doesn't make me but question the power and the impact of education on our life and the ability of education to change the world. With millions of people today deprived not only from basic needs, but from a decent learning setting, from the chance to learn how to read and write. With millions of children from Nigeria to Afghanistan to Latin America who do not have access to proper educational material, who do not have access to basic education. Then again, I'm questioning what impact does this have on our world? And if one were to assess the impact education has on the world, we should assess the aspects that education touches on, and the correlation between education and several issues in our life. And hence, in this speech, I will be discussing 3 issues. The first one would be gender-based socialization, while the second one would be poverty, and the third one would touch on defiance. When one were to talk about gender-based socialization, and what role does education help in impacting gender-based socialization, we cannot but say that the lack of education paves the way for cultural perceptions of women and gender-based roles to dominate. Hence, when we live in a society where men are not educated, women are not aware enough, when we live in a society where we let that patriarchal system dominate, then women will not have a say in their destiny. Women will not have a say in how their life would go. Women will lose ambition, and they would simply isolate themselves in that domestic domain. They will not interact with the world. They will not play a part of the economic cycle. They will not work. They will not raise their children well. Because we remember that if we teach a man, then we only teach a man. However, if we teach a woman, then we are teaching generations of men and women to come. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, if we were to create an educational link between gender-based socialization and education, I would want to touch on a recent report published by the United Nations Commission on Sustainable Development. And this report had said that one of the major weapons third world countries have in order to be able to achieve economic growth and come out of their problems would be through educating women and through allowing women to have access to opportunities. Because when you allow women to have access to job opportunities, then you are allowing these children of these nations, who will be the future of that nation, to be educated as well. Another aspect we'd like to touch on, besides gender-based socialization, would be that of poverty. As you know, if we look into the world around us, we cannot but correlate the strength of a certain economy by the strength of that educational system in the economy. Because if we're to promote strong education, then we are going to promote strong leaders who are able not only to fight corruption, but to propose solutions and to be keen on issues such as sustainable development. And hence, if we look at the world around us, we notice that the job market is becoming every day more and more competitive, with the numbers of people holding bachelor degrees rising more and more. Hence, our access to job opportunities is decreasing and becoming more limited. Therefore, one cannot survive anymore, cannot have a decent life with a basic education. Hence, a person who has only acquired basic education cannot but be a poorly paid laborer. And it is most likely that it does not stop there, because a poorly paid laborer will most likely end up with poorly paid laborer children. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to look that we do not only shape our own destiny, rather than we play a role in shaping the destiny of future generations. And when we are keen on educating these future generations, and when we are keen on educating ourselves, this is when we are able to make the world a better place. A third issue I would like to touch on would be basically the impact education has on minimizing deviance in society. Also, again, if I would examine and scrutinize first world countries, if I would look at countries such as Sweden, Norway, and Switzerland, I would notice that they have very, very low crime rates. They have very low poverty rates. They have very low deviance rates. So the police there, they practically don't need to exist. Why? Because these countries have good educational systems. These countries have good safety, they have good law enforcement, good public awareness systems, because these countries have care to spend on schools, they have care to spend on decent classrooms, they have care to spend on basketball courts, they have care to give children a better life, to give children a better place to be in, a better place to learn, rather than the streets. You see, if children spend most of their time on the streets, then it is practically impossible to help them not surrender to this reality. Because these children, they will grow understanding and believing that drugs, domestic violence, and crime are very, very normal things. However, today it's unacceptable to deprive our children from a chance to have a decent and safe childhood. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very sad that despite the challenges that the human genius today has overcome, that despite all these achievements that humanity has accomplished, that we find ourselves, as I speak now, unable to provide children with access to education. That as I speak now, the 276 Nigerian schoolgirls are still missing. And why? Because they chose to go to school. Therefore, we can keep on going with words. But if we were to make an impact, we should try to donate as much as we can to non-profit organizations in charge of educating children. Thank you so much.